Hey, good morning. Welcome in. Welcome back, everybody. Today we've got some pretty significant energies, and it feels like we are walking through a karmic gateway portal of energies. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Hello, my name is Laura. I'm a twin flame coach, guide, reader, and astrologer, and we're going to talk about these significant energies happening today for the Twin Flame Collective, and then we are going to go deeper in with some oracle and some tarot messages. And so today we've got quite a bit happening up there in the cosmos, and these energies have been building, and so we are continuing the grand water trine, but today it is a trine perfecting between Mars in Scorpio and Saturn retrograde in Pisces. We also have Mercury in a trine to Neptune, and so this is pretty significant because it is happening at that anaretic degree, 29th degree, and today is also the 29th. So we're double whammy when it comes to this karmic portal of energies. After that trine between Mercury and Neptune, we do have Mercury entering into Sagittarius, and it will almost immediately go into an opposition with Uranus retrograde in Gemini at 0 degrees 21. And so we are at the threshold is what this feels like. We are at the threshold moment between worlds, right? Where we haven't quite left the old cycle, the old world behind, and we haven't quite fully stepped into that new cycle or that new earth, new world energy. So we're going to break it down step by step. And I feel for the Twin Flame Collective, this really is an energy of deep soul purging. I've already been affected with the throat chakra energies, I have to say. I woke up this morning with a swollen throat, just a dry, itchy, irritated throat. Doesn't surprise me because whenever Mercury is involved in the cosmos, I feel with something major, I'm affected by the throat because I'm a Taurus and I'm ruled by the throat. And so right now we've got this opening energy of this anaretic degree, and this does symbolize karmic closure. So this is happening for all of us in a certain area of our birth chart, and I kept hearing graduation. It feels like a graduation. Mercury is also going to be going retrograde in Sagittarius in November, and it's going to be backtracking back into Scorpio, which I feel is very significant, okay? And so this is kind of where the mind, right, Mercury, penetrates all of this hidden truth, right? Because Mercury in Scorpio is all about digging deep into the truth, into the unseen. And there's this illusion being dissolved with Neptune retrograde and this trine energy, okay? And so anything false is kind of being exposed. And so I do feel this is activating, like I said, that deep soul purge. And I feel the divine masculine really is confronting that emotional truth, that spiritual truth that he's really been avoiding on the twin flame journey. And so there's basically this energy of like, there's nowhere left to hide. There's absolutely nowhere left for the masculine to hide, connected to the confusion, the illusions, the misunderstanding. All of this lingering energy between the counterparts is starting to dissipate. And I do feel the Scorpio waters, right? Because it's deep. They're pulling the masculine under. And he's going to emerge like the phoenix, reborn with these energies. And I feel the feminine is feeling the psychic pressure. I know I'm feeling the heightened pressure, the heightened energy, the heightened telepathy, the downloads, the heightened downloads. There's a lot of vivid dreams. And I know from the comments that, yes, that is confirmed. Lots of vivid dreams. Lots of intuitive downloads, and I feel there's like this energy where the feminine is being called into like a cocoon of resting all morning. Along with the throat, I could barely keep my eyes open even though I slept really, really good last night. I just could barely keep my eyes open, like something wanted me to go back into astral travel, because I do believe there's a lot of downloads and light codes saturating the collective with this grand water trine at play. And so I feel the feminine is going to have some type of sudden clarity connected to the counterpart or her masculine, whatever the masculine's been processing behind the scenes. And I feel it's like the final dissolving of these illusions of separation. Now we have to keep in mind though, because Mercury is going to move into Sagittarius and then it's going to back into Scorpio. And so we're not quite out of the weeds, out of the woods yet. And I'm pretty sure out of the weeds was a card that did come out in yesterday's message. And then Mercury's going to enter Sagittarius. And with the opposition to Uranus retrograde at 0 degrees, there's like a massive mental and energetic shift happening here, right? We're going from the 29th degree to the 0 degree, from the trine to the opposition. And so from the dark to the light, because Sagittarius is all about expansion, all about transcendence, and all of this hidden energy revealed. And I feel the opposition is creating like a shock wave of awakening within the collective, right? Because Uranus brings surprises. 0 degrees always marks a brand new cycle. And so Mercury is connected to communication. It's connected to our beliefs a little bit, right? Our thought patterns, our beliefs, our communication. It's connected to our siblings, our close-knit community. And Uranus is bringing in a shock. It's bringing in unexpected communication, unexpected information, and it's going to like electrify the mind is how I'm seeing this, okay? And so unexpected communication is quite possible in the energies today, or even just like an unexpected revelation. All I got to say is today is all about truth bombs. I keep being shown like this explosive truth being brought forward. This is when something comes to light that's been hidden in the dark that shifts this twin flame dynamic. And so it could mean setting communication from the counterpart after years of silence. It could mean just an epiphany, an epiphany about the connection. It could also mean breaking free from these limiting beliefs, right? Or like a limiting karmic cycle. And so there's the Fool archetype, there's the World archetype, and this mirroring energy, I feel, is completing the cycle. So we can begin that new journey aligned. And so with the Mars and Scorpio trine Saturn retrograde in Pisces, this is kind of the archetype of the Knight of Wands meeting the Knight of Swords. And so this is action, immediate action. And I feel action with intention. And the throat is really acting up for me today. So whatever the masculine has been, you know, indecisive about, there's going to be an internal choice, I feel, and the energy of this very decisive moment at play today. All of the storms, all of the confusion, especially over the last few weeks, it's about taking those next steps, walking out of the storm, walking into the clarity, and reaching out. I feel this really is the moment where many of the masculines will feel that pull to reach out to the divine feminine. And this is your invitation, divine feminine, to stay receptive, stay open, stay balanced, and don't chase, okay? Because this really is connected to divine timing. And when the masculine gets the call to move, it will be connected to divine timing. And this karmic alignment. Alignment. I was going to say alignment, and alliance wanted to come through. And so I also feel this chaos energy around the masculine because we're in this major karmic master gateway. Because October 29th, the 29 number does reduce to 11, which is a master number. And so there's this vibration of illumination in the energies today. There's spiritual awakening. 1111 is connected to the twin flame awakening code and divine union. And 29 does carry with it a karmic lesson, right? The karmic lesson always leads to higher self, mastery, higher self awareness, and that intuitive awakening. And so there's a lot of emotional maturity, I feel, possible in these energies, but it will require radical forgiveness. And so we're kind of in this cosmic testing today and in the energies this week. I think we're all being asked, can we remain in our truth? Can we remain with our boundaries firm in place, all while standing in the energy of unconditional love, right? Because there's going to be a lot of dramatic external shifts, and we have to stay centered in that energy. And so divine feminine, stay grounded in compassion. That's a huge one, because the masculine may act or communicate impulsively, and this may be good or bad, right? So you're going to have to remain heart-centered. You're not going to want to react, because I feel the masculine is very reactionary right now in these energies. And we have to do trust in divine timing. I know so many people, I see the frustration in the comments. People get very frustrated when they hear divine timing, but everything is according to divine will and divine timing. And we have to have a clear channel of energies. And so the Neptunian influence is really bringing in a lot of heightened psychic sensitivity And we do have to be grounded, right? Because if we don't have a cleansed aura, if we're not grounded, if we're not centered, then we don't receive those clear intuitive messages. So we do have to be aligned and centered and grounded. And I do feel that the Sagittarius energy is asking us to focus on the bigger picture, because we don't quite see the bigger picture yet. And we do have to rise above, right? Sagittarius is transcendence. It's rise above the details, rise above the darkness, trust in the soul contracts that are unfolding or ending in these energies today, because we're kind of in this cosmic bridge portal is what this feels like. And we're crossing the threshold, right, between illusion and truth, and silence and communication. There's endings and beginnings happening all at once in these energies. And so the energy is karmic, it's electric, it's illuminating, and we do have to take action from the heart. We are here to anchor into our heart-centered truth. And so major potentials for breakthroughs today and over the coming days. We do have Mercury in a sextile to Pluto perfecting tomorrow. So these energies are still building, happening in the background. And then we close off the energies this week, remember, on the weekend with some Venus aspects that are pretty challenging. And so trust that there is karmic resolution in the foresight, but everything kind of has to still unfold as we work through this grand water trine of energy. So with that being said, if you are curious about learning a little bit more about your birth chart and how to follow along with the astrological portion of my readings, comment free guide down below. Normally I would have the astrology chart up here on the screen, but I've been having some technical difficulties and issues with my editing platform. So I do apologize that it's not up on the screen today. I'm working on a fix for that issue. But yeah, comment free guide down below, and I will send you the basics to understanding your birth chart. And I do have now recently launched the astrology membership. And so this is a soul-led astrology membership. It's an ongoing monthly membership. You're never too late to join. So check it out. For one low monthly fee, you can get basically one-on-one mentorship from me in a group setting at just a fraction of the price of what I offer one-on-one. So go check it out. I'd love to have you join us over in that soul-led community. We've got a great group of people over there. If you're ready to dig deeper and learn astrology and how to apply it in your life so things don't just keep happening to you, they happen for you, then go check out the membership. But enough about that. Let's dig in with the cards and let's see what the cards have to say today. What a beautiful transmission of energies today. Let's talk about these cards. The first card out is the Cosmos card. And so it does speak of cosmic co-creation, I want to say divine assistance and just returning to the flow, because it is a 41 card. It does carry the Ace of Cups energy. Key 41 in the tarot is the Ace of Cups. And the heart chakra does open up the portal of creation. And so the twin flame journey itself is a creative act. And it is born from that soul's desire to experience love through the cosmos, through this divine connection and this divine expression. And so with the vibration of the Ace of Cups here, I do feel this is mirroring this emotional renewal. And it is being catalyzed with this grand water trine at play, especially with Mercury's trine to Neptune at the anaretic degree. This is the completion of the illusions, and this is the beginning of new emotional truth. And so I feel a strong message for the feminine. You are encouraged to return to inspired creation. The feminine is the container of the creation. Paint, write, channel, build everything from your heart chakra, okay? Because every creative act becomes a transmission of the cosmos, and it magnetizes your counterpart, and it does anchor in that union energy in the physical plane. The message for the masculine. I do feel this represents the awakening of the heart. That is what I'm feeling here. The awareness that love and purpose on this journey are not separate, that they are intertwined. And so the divine masculine is being guided by the cosmos to step into co-creation with the feminine and to release control. Okay, because then we got the Horse King. This is all about control. It says assistance and control. But what I love about this is we go from a 41 to a 42. So we go from an Ace of Cups to the Two of Cups archetype. And I do feel this is distinctly a divine masculine message because it says king on the card, the Horse King. And so the masculine is supposed to be the guide of strength. The masculine is the direction of the partnership. But right now it still feels like his shadow is in control. And this does kind of mirror the Mercury opposite Uranus transit that follows the beautiful energy of the trine. And so there's mental resistance here, I want to say, that is breaking open for the divine masculine. And I feel he really is wrestling with the surrender of the control. I believe he's afraid to release the reins. He's afraid to lose stability. But I do feel the universe is showing him a lot of signs and synchronicity, symbols. He might be crossing people's paths that are meant to assist him on his mission. But I do feel there's a moment of decision here for the masculine, and he's being called to trust in the flow. And I do feel there's resistance here, which is going to lead him to more repeated cycles. And the feminine is the contrast here, right? Because she's in the magnetic flow. I feel the feminine is calling in new allies, new opportunities that are aligned to her highest path. And she's open. And the masculine needs to let go and follow the call of destiny here. And then we get the Lady of the Gift. It's a 20 card. And so there's judgment archetypal energies coming through. The feminine is the gift. The feminine is the Holy Grail. And so there's a karmic balancing here. All the generosity that you've put out there, divine feminine, get ready to receive. Your compassionate giving, I feel, is manifesting into all kinds of tangible, worldly blessings, abundance, recognition, emotional fulfillment. And while the masculine is in this state of withholding truth or his emotions, he's created his own energetic block. And so I feel this is a call out, right? It's like the feminine's energy calls out the shadow of self-worth wounds. And if you are being dragged into the shadows with the masculine, you might find yourself struggling with self-worth wounding. But I feel right now the masculine holds this very distorted belief that he is not enough, and therefore he tries to control. And so there's an awakening, though, of accountability here, and a revelation of where the masculine has been withholding love or has been grounded in some type of distortion of love itself. And so we are at a turning point here, because the bottom of the deck is the Ringmaster of Scrutiny. It's a 9 card, so Hermit archetype energy. And so the Hermit energy actually doubles here, because the bottom of the deck with the tarot is the Seek card or the Hermit card. And so right now I feel there's a call to introspection for both of the counterparts, a call into higher discernment, not judgment, but wisdom, right? And so both of the twins are learning to read between the lines. They're learning to see beyond appearances and to understand the deeper spiritual motives that play around them. And so pay attention to the signs, the messages, the details. Spirit, I feel, is communicating through the tiniest of things. And so the divine, I want to say, is in the details. I just need a sip of tea here, and then we're going to dig into the tarot messages. That throat chakra energy is very prominent for me today. All right, let's talk about the tarot, because there's awakening, there's rebuilding. First, we do have to talk about the cut. If you remember on the cut, we did have the Emperor come out with the solar plexus card. And so the tarot deck I'm using today is the Psychic Tarot of the Heart by John Holland. And it's kind of like an oracle tarot deck. But that's what I was guided to use today. And so I feel this is a moment where the masculine is being called to reclaim back his personal power, right? Because the solar plexus governs our willpower, our action. And the Emperor appearing on the cut is the masculine collective being called into the rising, into leadership, right? Through integrity and alignment. And then we had these cards fall out. The Six of Wands. I feel there's a spark of faith returning. The rebuild card, or the Tower. And so that's the old foundations crumbling. And it does kind of feel like this awakening of the heart. And then to open up, right? The Four of Pentacles. It's opening up the heart, releasing the fear, receiving through the heart chakra. And then we get the Teach card, which is the Hierophant. Both of the twins, I feel like, reclaiming their spiritual mission as guides, as teachers. And then the Daydreams and the Decisions card, which is the mirror of the Seven of Cups. So turning dreams into grounded choices, right? And so this sequence of cards that fell out when I opened up the box of cards, I feel parallels all of this mercurial energy too, shifting from Scorpio into Sagittarius, from breakdown to breakthrough. And so there's alchemy in the destruction, right? There's alchemy in the illumination. So let's talk about this 9-card spread. We got Joy and Stability, which is the Four of Wands. This is the Twin Flame Union card. It speaks of a reunion or a solid commitment, at least energetically forming. But there's still something here that I feel the masculine is refusing to see. And he's going to have to confront some shadows and illusions here, because we get the Moon cards, the Two of Swords, the Moon card. And so the masculine is still in this state of facing mental resistance. There's denial, there's avoidance, there's indecision here. And then we get the confrontation of the shadows, right? The Moon card, facing his shadow self. He's going to have to face his illusions, his shadow self, these hidden truths head on. They're going to be rising to the surface. And this is going to require emotional honesty, or we don't really have a path forward in these connections. And so the top row is very clear, where the masculine is confronting the illusion in the false foundations, whether it's a belief or an actual foundation with somebody external, and where he's refused to see the truth on his heart connected to the divine plan or divine will here, okay? And so the middle row is also very telling, because we get the Observe card or the Hanged Man. And so major arcana, and the central energy is the Third Eye chakra card. This is the spiritual sight opening up. This is the downloads I talked about, the intuition, divine insight flooding through for both of the counterparts, I want to say. And there's pause before action here. So it still feels like the masculine is in a state of suspension, because he hasn't quite walked away from the old patterns towards this new vision. But on the other side of the Third Eye chakra is the new vision, the new vitality, or the Ace of Wands card. So there's like this ignition point in the energies coming through. After the illumination does come the rebirth, right? The renewed passion, the rainbow blessings, the inspired action, the divine movement. And so the Mercury-Uranus energy is like an awakening, I feel, or that epiphany moment. And it's going to change everything. So the bottom row, we get Share the Love. It's a Three of Cups card. And now I know oftentimes the Three of Cups can get a bad rap for third party, but look at the imagery on this card. Look at this. And so I feel a reconciliation. I feel mending the broken bond. You see, gluing the two heart halves back together. This feels like an extension of an olive branch, or a reconnection in this connection. And then decision time, right? Spread your wings. It's the Two of Wands. So it's time to choose the path of growth. It's time to choose the path of ascension and the path of union. But the masculine, I feel, is still feeling a little bit blocked, because the last card out is the Eight of Swords, or feeling helpless and hopeless. But there is this, I feel, the masculine seeing the sunrise, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, realizing, I feel, freedom is a choice, right? So we're never truly stuck when we're in the Eight of Swords. Freedom is a choice. And so he can choose to break free from all of those limiting conditions that keep him in a state of helplessness and hopelessness. But he is going to have to choose. And so the bottom of the deck, we get the Seeker. And so there is, once again, this sacred pause of energies before taking that action in order to receive the divine insights, the divine downloads. The two blue birds, I feel, spirit communication. It's so interesting. A couple of days ago, I was sitting at the kitchen table upstairs, and I've got two great big windows in the kitchen, and a blue jay kept flying, not into the window, but kept flying from one window to the next, and then back to the big maple tree in the front yard. And I thought, what is this bird doing? Almost like this bird was trying to get my attention. And I do equate blue jays to masculine energy, and I feel like a very protective energy, like the twins are protected, the feminine is protected, is what I feel. But this is the masculine, I feel, breaking free from the self-imposed limitations here. And the feminine, I feel, holding the light to the faith of the journey, right? And so lots of challenging energies for sure. And I do feel the masculine is still defending himself as he goes through this release, this shutting. I feel the peeling away of the false identities and the light body activation. So wish fulfillment can come through, right? It kind of feels like the cosmos energies right there. So let's talk about the final cards drawn. We did get the Bounteous card from the Healing Waters deck, and I picked the Healing Waters because of the water trine going on, and it speaks of generously given, relationships coming together. It does have that Two of Cups feel, right? And so as the feminine opens up the floodgates of receiving, that's when the blessings come through, right? When we share, we receive, right? The more we give, the more we receive. And then the planetary wave on the bottom of the deck. This is the first wave of twin flame unions rising. And look at that, the king tide. The first waves of masculines rising to the occasion, I feel. Receiving the fullness of life, receiving the fullness of these connections. And this confirms that the collective ascension mission is union. It is union. And the twins are always going to be guided to learn their soul lessons and to trust in the current and the tides and the rides of the waves that we came in on, and the remembrance. And we're never alone, even in separation. There's always that energetic thread of unity that connects all of the twins together beyond all time and all space. And so really we are at this threshold moment, I feel, where the divine masculine awakens and the feminine is ready to receive the counterpart. And both are being called to create consciously, but we have to surrender control, and we do have to trust in the divine current that is guiding the twins towards this first wave of union. So beautiful messages today. If you would like to go further with a personal reading with me, feel free to check out the webpage link below. I offer twin flame synastry readings, full hour tarot and oracle sessions, birth chart readings, transit chart readings, you name it. There's pretty much something there for everybody. Go check out the webpage and all that I have to offer for the collective. And I hope you have a great day, everyone. I will see you all again next time.